What you're hearing there are tones from the Boss Waza Fz-1w fuzz pedal, which is my first and only fuzz pedal. And as such, today I figured what we'd do is take a closer look at the pedal, sculpt a couple of tones with it, and overall just examine how fuzz can be used in your playing and in your signal chain. And if you'd like to skip straight to the tones, you can check the subdivisions in the video progress bar or the timestamps in the description below. Right, now fuzz is an effect that I know next to nothing about. I've never even demoed one in a store, but I know how great they can sound, and for that reason I've been looking for one for a while to put on my pedal board. And when I first came across the Fz-1w, I knew it was a great place to start because Boss, after all, are very reliable, very consistent, and every Boss pedal I've ever owned has been fantastic. In regards to the Fz-1w itself, it was released sometime towards the end of last year. The circuit is Boss's own original design. It's not based on any pre-existing circuit or fuzz pedal, but it has been said to be a great kind of jack of all trades, filler of any fuzz sounds you might need. It has the classic Boss 3-knob configuration with level, tone, and gain, with each of the knobs being easily accessible and also highly responsive to any adjustments that you might make. It also has two different modes or voicings, vintage or modern, accessed by this little toggle in the middle here. The vintage mode is a little bit more aggressive but also more dynamic in its touch response as well as its sensitivity to your guitar's input signal. Whereas the modern mode is a little bit fatter, a little bit smoother, and much more mid-focused. So with that out of the way, let's check out a couple of different sounds and a couple of different roles that we can use this pedal and effect for. One of the ways that you can use fuzz is more like a clean boost with just a touch of saturation, and I got this tip in a video from Rhett Scholl, which I've linked below, and he explains that in having the level almost all the way up and the fuzz almost all the way down, while there's basically no fuzz in the signal, you're still getting some breakup and some saturation coming from the silicon transistors in the circuit. And if you're using a clean amp with quite high headroom, like a Fender amp like I am, this is the perfect way to push the amp a little bit harder just to get it a bit hotter and have it break up with just a touch of character coming from the pedal without it being too overwhelming. The next setting is putting everything around the middle, around 12 o'clock, and this is a great way to give your rhythm and your lead parts a little bit more edge because you're balancing the intensity of the fuzz with the natural saturation from the transistors, which again adds character and a little bit more of that fuzz grit, while still not being too overwhelming. And then finally, of course, you can just max everything out and go for total fuzz-driven chaos. But while those settings are great and sound amazing and serve all manner of different purposes, this next section is where I'm most interested, which is in the pedal and effects response to your guitar signal and your playing dynamics. Fuzz is an effect that's incredibly sensitive to your incoming guitar signal, and what this means is that you can effectively control the amount of fuzz using the volume on your guitar. You simply set your pedal to the highest amount of gain that you might need, and then dial back on the volume to clean it up. And a lot of people actually say that it's in this that a fuzz pedal's sweet spot truly lies. And this is amazing because it means that in a good fuzz pedal, you'll be able to go from a clean boost to a light to medium overdrive to full distortion to full on fuzz without having to change any settings on the pedal. Now, when it comes to putting fuzz in your signal chain, it's pretty widely agreed that it goes at the beginning as close as possible to your guitar signal, and this is because of how sensitive it is to that signal and allows for the most dynamic response. But when it comes to stacking your fuzz with another gain pedal, this is apparently where one of the tonal delights of the guitar and pedal world lies. From what I've found, the general consensus is that stacking a fuzz with a light to medium gain overdrive is the most effective, as what this does is tame the effect some. It gives things a little boost, adds a little bit of EQ, as well as smooths over some of the harsher and rougher edges of the effect. As for the style of the overdrive, that depends on the nature of the fuzz that you're using, as well as the effect that you want the overdrive to have. So as an example, big muffs are famous for being quite scooped in the mids, and stacking that with something like a tube screamer style overdrive would help boost those mids and help the signal cut through a little bit more in a live or band situation. So I currently have two overdrives that I can use for this, the more transparent JHS Morning Glory and the slightly thicker Way Huge Conspiracy Theory Clone. So we're just going to run the fuzz into both of these and see what kind of effect it has on the tone. Another great little trick is that by dialing back the level of fuzz using the volume on your guitar to a sort of edge of breakup kind of tone, you can then stack it with a lighter gain overdrive to push things into a thick, mid-gain kind of overdrive sort of tone that's perfect for leads. And finally, for one last comparison, I've been playing this entire time running into the front of my Fender Hot Rod Deluxe on clean, but how does the pedal sound when running into the front of a dirty amp? For the dirt, I'm going to be using my Marshall Class 5 amplifier, and we'll just quickly compare how the pedal sounds running into the front of both of them. When I began shopping around for my first fuzz pedal, I figured that it was just going to be another pedal to throw on the board, another gain stage. But in a way, I feel like my journey with pedals has kind of come full circle. I've gone from thinking that I need as many pedals as possible to realizing that that's not necessarily the case. And with Fuzz, really all your gain requirements are covered if you just take the time to learn to integrate controlling the gain levels using the volume on your guitar. After just 5 or 10 minutes of playing through this pedal for the first time, I was doing it without really thinking about it, as if I'd been doing it for years. And that's kind of had a very interesting knock-on effect for the rest of my playing, putting me more in touch with my guitar in a way. I'm more conscious of my picking and my attack and how I'm playing certain notes, as well as thinking about the levels of gain at different moments, so going a bit hotter or pulling back depending on what it is that I'm trying to express. It's kind of like the middleman between me and my expression has been taken out to the point where my guitar stops being something that's external. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I'm not really too sure how else to explain it. I guess I'm just a lot more impressed than I was expecting to be. As for my thoughts on this pedal specifically, obviously I can't say that I'm an expert on fuzz. I know there's like a million different fuzzes out there, and I can't recommend this one to you specifically because I don't know what type of fuzz you're looking for. I'm not sure what sound you're looking for. But if you're new to fuzz, if you don't have a fuzz and you're looking for your first fuzz, buy this. Live with it, work with it, learn with it, because you will not regret it. It is just an awesome pedal. But that about does it for today, guys, and as always I hope that there was something in this video that was useful for you, something you were able to learn from. If so, do let me know in the comments below. If you have a fuzz pedal, if you have the Fz-1w as well, let me know how you're liking it, let me know how you're using it, because I would genuinely love to hear from you, and I would also love to discuss that with you. But apart from that, thanks for doing all the usual business to help support my channel and my video. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you guys in a bit.